Hello, today in this scenario, we're going to be looking at the modern way of developing continuous insights inside of your organization. Within the modern way of insight development, it is a continuous flow of information and data between sources, destinations, processes, ongoing analytics that continuously feed back in upon itself to help improve the data that is actually being used as the source of the insight. Now let's move over to put it forward to see how all of this comes together. When we step into put it forward, there are a number of different functional modules which are outside of the scope of today's conversation. We're going to be spending our time inside Delphi, which is the AI engine inside put it forward. Here we would typically add a prompt to ask a question that you may want to have answered. Today, we're going to make it a little bit interesting. We're going to take some highly structured and unstructured data from external sources that happened to come from the SEC. We chose data from the 10Qs and 10Ks of Johnson & Johnson and Tesla for no other reason that they have well-developed reporting. As you can see here, this is just raw text data. There's nothing special about it. It could equally be coming from a source system. Now, when we say a source system, these systems could equally be accessed from within Put It Forward. Here, we're going to take a quick look at sort of the process designer that would control the flow of when and where you're going to be getting data from. And it can be from any of the hundreds of different systems inside Put It Forward. Now, let's step back into the generative AI functions inside of Delphi and start by asking a very simple question. We've taken the opportunity to previously drag and drop the source files of the 10Ks and 10Qs into Put It Forward, and that data has been added into the library and repository, which we're now going to be essentially querying by reference against the generative AI models that we use inside Put It Forward. So let's ask a basic question here. What's the biggest contributor to J&J's profit in 2022 or 23? The specificity of the question you're asking is very important here because it helps determine the level of data and the response that you're going to get out of this. Now, to add to this, what's happening in the background is that data has been interpreted inside Put It Forward and built into the models, et cetera. And we're now getting a generative response based on the probabilistic understanding of what that question means and what the answer is. None of this data has been pre-conditioned before going inside of the Put It Forward environment. There are no prompts, there's no labeling. It's just really the raw structured and unstructured data going on inside of the environment. So let's ask another question here. Question that may be a little bit more deep, a little bit more specific, and broad in terms of the range or the data sources that it may be involved in this. Now, these queries, again, could be using data that comes out of underlying source systems, and meaning that it's highly structured and associated with unstructured data that you may have inside of your environment. What we're going to be doing here is just adding a broad data question that is sourced on the data from the 10Qs inside of SEC. Specifically, what was the profit or the accrued liabilities rather for Q2 in 2023 based on the J&J healthcare division? I'm not sure actually if this data was how well it was represented in the SECs, but I probed through there earlier and wanted to take kind of a deeper look at it. So what's happening in the background here is the probabilistic engines inside Put It Forward are working that data to help determine what could possibly be the response here. And we can see that it's not necessarily going to generate an answer if the underlying data isn't there, but there is specifics around the liabilities for the general terms. Now, this will give you in a way to sort of look where you want to go deeper inside of your own source data. Thank you for your time and attention. If you have any questions about how you can leverage this capability inside of your own enterprise, please click on the appropriate button and we'd be happy to talk to you directly.